Welcome back. We're going to get right into the material you provided today, which is really an empowering roadmap for optimizing your own learning environment.
It really is. And this isn't about theory. It's about helping you find the exact settings, both inside and out, where you really thrive.
The core idea seems pretty straightforward. Your environment plays a huge role in how well you learn and, I guess, how long you can keep at it.
That's it exactly. Think of it as creating your own personal operating manual for success. We want to get past the generic advice and really focus on what makes you feel energized.
And to do that, the material gives us a framework, a 5-factor framework.
A very clear one. Our goal today is just to break down these factors and offer some specific insights so you can start making adjustments right away to really maximize your own success.
Okay, let's unpack that. I really like that it frames learning as this holistic experience, it's not just one thing.
It's all interconnected. If one of these 5 factors is out of alignment, it can really affect the others.
So what are they?
Okay, let's lay them out. First, you've got physical surroundings.
Tangible stuff.
Tangible stuff.
Yeah.
Noise, light, your chair, having your books nearby, all of that.
Okay.
Second, cognition and intellectual factors. This is more internal. It's about how you process and store information, and it really leans on what you already know.
Right. And third?
Third is the emotional and psychological factors. So we're talking about stress, anxiety, but also enthusiasm, your interest in the subject.
Both internal and external motivation.
Both. Then fourth, we have physical and health conditions. This one's fundamental fatigue, nutrition, just your general wellness.
Why the last one?
And finally, number 5 is culture and language. This looks at your social background, your cultural values, and even the dynamic you have with, say, a teacher.
That's a really thorough list. And for you listening, the value here is that it gives you these diagnostic tools. If you feel stuck, you can pinpoint which area needs an inspiring little tweak.
It's a truly tailored approach. So let's start with the most immediate one, physical surroundings. Factor 1.
This is where we can see results the fastest, right? By just experimenting.
Absolutely. And the material goes a bit deeper than just, quiet library versus noisy cafe.
Right. We all know some people need silence and others like that background hum. But what are the specifics here for optimizing that space?
Well, it talks about the quality of the space. Take noise, for example. The source suggests that a moderate ambient sound, maybe around 50 to 70 decibels.
Like a quiet cafe.
Exactly, like a quiet cafe, can actually boost creativity. If it's too quiet, every little sound is a distraction. But if it's too loud, your working memory starts to struggle.
So it's not just if there's noise, but the type and consistency of it. What about something like lighting? That seems critical.
It is. And there's a big difference between natural and artificial light. Natural light is so empowering. It helps with your circadian rhythms, reduces eye strain, and that all helps you keep your stamina up.
And if you can't get natural light,
then the quality of the artificial light really matters. You want to avoid that harsh fluorescent lighting that makes you feel tired. A warmer light can be much better for long-term focus.
And I imagine ergonomics play a part too. Your seating, a clear workspace.
A huge part. If you're constantly fidgeting or shifting in your seat, that's mental energy you're wasting energy that could be going toward learning.
That makes sense.
And it also includes your resources. Having everything you need right there. Your laptop, your pens, your notes. It just reduces friction and helps you keep that momentum going.
And the source also loops in the actual instructional setting here, right? The teaching methods, the curriculum.
Yes, that's all part of your learning environment too. It's a very broad but very useful definition.
So here's the action point for you. This week, try a few different physical settings. Don't just stick with your usual spot. Maybe try a library, then a park, maybe a common area.
And notice how you feel.
Exactly. Notice where you feel most motivated, most determined. That self-awareness is an immediate success.
That awareness is everything. Okay, so now let's move inward. Let's look at the factors that really drive your internal stamina and focus. Cognition, emotion, and health.
We'll start with factor 2, cognition and intellectual factors. So how our brains actually handle information.
Right. And the source stresses that good learning is really about building bridges from new information to what you already know, your prior experience.
Okay, so it's not just about memorizing.
Not at all. It's about encoding, moving new things from your working memory into long-term memory. And to do that, you need effective strategies.
So things like retrieval practice, not just rereading your notes, but actively quizzing yourself.
Precisely. Or spaced repetition. Or breaking down big complex ideas into smaller pieces so you don't overload your cognitive system.
So you're connecting new ideas to things you already understand. That's a much more enriching way to learn.
Far more effective than just rote memorization.
Yeah.
And that brings us right to factor 3, the emotional and psychological side of things. Because even with the best strategies, anxiety can just shut everything down.
That is definitely true.
It's a biological reality. High stress releases cortisol, and that actually interferes with memory formation. So managing stress isn't just a nice to have, it's a necessity for successful learning.
And what about the other side of that? Enthusiasm. The source mentioned intrinsic and extrinsic motivation.
Yes, a really important distinction. Intrinsic motivation is that pure curiosity you feel for a subject. You do it because you just love the process itself.
That's the most powerful kind.
It's the most sustained and empowering, for sure. Extrinsic motivation is about external rewards, good grades, a better job, praise from others. Both are useful, but the real magic happens when you can link them.
How so?
Well, you might start studying for an extrinsic reason, like getting a high grade, but along the way you discover you actually enjoy it. You find that intrinsic reward.
You make the process itself rewarding. That makes perfect sense. And that leads us to the last of the internal factors, factor 4, physical and health conditions.
And we often treat these as separate from our studies, but they are completely linked.
Yeah.
Inseparable.
Fatigue seems like the biggest one.
It's probably the biggest saboteur of concentration. When you're sleep deprived, your working memory just shrinks. And nutrition is a big deal too. Stable blood sugar, staying hydrated. It sounds basic, but it's fundamental for sustained attention.
It really is a reminder that taking care of your body is the first step. An energized mind has the stamina to handle challenging material.
Absolutely. Your health is the baseline for everything else.
Okay, so let's zoom out one last time for the broadest factor, which is factor 5, culture and language. This is about the societal context.
Exactly. Factor 5 gets at the deeper roots of how we even approach learning. Your social background, your cultural values, they influence the process in some really profound ways.
For example?
Well, some cultures might really prioritize group collaboration, while others focus more on individual achievement. Neither is better or worse, but knowing your own programming helps you understand how you interact with a class or a subject.
And this is where the role of the teacher comes in as part of that environment.
That's the crucial link. The teacher's personality, how approachable they are, their passion for the subject, how clearly they explain things, that's a huge part of your success environment.
A teacher can really make or break a subject for you.
They absolutely can. If they make the material feel relevant to you and your own background, that connection is so motivating, it aids everything.
So real success is a combination of everything. An optimized physical space, disciplined internal management of your thoughts and health, and a supportive cultural and relational framework.
That holistic view is what's so empowering.
Okay, now that we've broken down all 5 factors, let's get to the most inspiring part. Putting this knowledge into action. The source gives us some self-reflection questions to help develop these strategies for the long term.
These are really practical tools. I'd suggest actually writing down your answers or maybe even recording yourself talking through them.
Okay, what are some of the questions?
Well, one is, at what times of the day do I feel most mentally alert? Are you a morning person or do you get your best work done late at night?
That alone could change your whole schedule.
It could. Another is, what specific environment helps me focus best? Do you need music or do you need total silence? And also, how do I usually deal with distractions?
That's a big one.
A huge one. And then it gets into organizing your time and what daily habits help you stay motivated. But maybe the most important question is this one.
Which is?
How can I remind myself of my long-term goals when I feel tired or lose interest?
That's where it all comes together. And the example in the material really illustrates this perfectly. The successful learner figured out their best habit was studying early in the morning in a quiet, well-lit room.
Right. That's their optimized physical environment. But the key to their long-term success wasn't just the room. It was the powerful connection they made.
The connection to their long-term goal.
Exactly. Their goal was to feel confident speaking a foreign language while traveling. So every single day, they connected that 30-minute practice to that powerful feeling.
So when they felt tired, they didn't just push through. They brought up that specific, enriching image of success, that feeling of fluency.
And that's what sustained them. It transformed the daily effort into a meaningful step toward a future they really wanted. That vivid connection defeats distraction and fatigue.
So we'd encourage you to maybe pick 1 or 2 of those questions that feel most important right now. Use them to design a new, empowering habit for yourself this week.
So to recap, Achieving success is really a conscious act of designing your environment. By addressing these 5 areas, physical, cognitive, emotional, health, and cultural, you're building an uplifting path to consistent high performance.
The process of self-discovery itself is profoundly energizing.
And here's a final thought for you to carry forward on this journey. The material showed how connecting daily effort to a long-term goal is the key to motivation, especially when progress feels slow. So this week, we challenge you to define the single, most specific sensory image or feeling related to your ultimate long-term success. What is that one powerful, vivid reminder you can call up in an instant? That flash of confidence or that feeling of achievement that can defeat tiredness and keep your focus strong.
That specific self-knowledge is really the ultimate tool for sustained success.